A tale of two broken souls, a lonely road, and a discovery that would shatter everything Ethan Ward thought he knew about luck, love, and second chances. What he found that misty October morning wasn't just a woman left for dead. It was the beginning of something that would flip his entire world upside down. But the truth about who she really was, that revelation, would leave him speechless. The October fog hung thick and low that morning, clinging to the ground like a heavy blanket. Ethan Ward's boots crunched against the gravel as he walked along Riverbend Road, a stretch of forgotten asphalt that rarely saw more than 3 cars a day. He'd been walking for about 40 minutes now, roughly 3 miles from the old farmhouse, heading toward the Hutchinson place where he'd promised to help repair a barn roof. The pay wasn't much, but it was something. And something was better than nothing when you had a 6-year-old daughter depending on you. That's when he saw it. At first, it looked like a pile of dark clothes someone had dumped in the drainage ditch, but something about the shape made his stomach clench. "Hey!" Ethan broke into a run, his heart hammering. "Hey, can you hear me?" As he got closer, the details came into horrifying focus. It was a woman lying motionless in the shallow ditch, her body twisted at an unnatural angle. Her business suit was torn and filthy, covered in mud and dried blood. Her face, beautiful brown skin now bruised beyond recognition, swollen purple, the kind of damage that came from fists, not from falling. Ethan dropped to his knees beside her, his construction site first aid training kicking in. He pressed 2 fingers against her neck, searching for a pulse. There, faint, but there. Ma'am, can you hear me?" No response. Her skin was ice cold beneath his fingertips. This wasn't an accident. Someone had beaten this woman badly and left her here to die. But there was something else that made his blood even colder. Her legs, the way they were positioned, the muscle wasting visible even through her torn slacks. And there, half buried in the dirt beside her, track marks in the mud. Like something with wheels had been here, a wheelchair. Someone had beaten a woman who couldn't walk and dumped her body out here in the middle of nowhere. Ethan looked up and down the empty road. Not a single car, not a house in sight, no phone service out here. The nearest phone was back at Mrs. Green's place, a 1/4 mile from his farmhouse. He checked the woman's breathing again. Shallow, labored. She didn't have hours. The decision came fast. He carefully lifted her, cradling her like he used to carry his daughter Naomi. The woman weighed almost nothing. As he lifted her, her head lolled against his chest, and he heard a soft, unconscious whimper of pain. "I've got you. You're going to be okay, I promise." The walk back felt like miles. His arms burned, his back screamed, but he didn't stop. Every few minutes he'd pause just to check if she was still breathing, then keep moving. The fog began to lift as he finally saw the outline of his farmhouse through the trees. The old structure looked run down in the morning light, peeling paint, sagging porch, that hole in the roof he kept meaning to patch. Ethan shouldered his way through the front door and headed straight for his bedroom. He laid the woman gently on his bed and grabbed the first aid kit from the hall closet. The muscle atrophy in her legs was severe. Years of paralysis, not months. The bruising on her arms showed where someone had gripped her hard. Defensive wounds on her hands where she'd tried to fight back. This wasn't random violence. This was personal. Ethan ran to Mrs. Green's house, pounding on her door until the elderly black woman answered, her silver locks wrapped in a colorful scarf. "Ethan, what in heaven's name?" "I need your phone. Now. There's a woman. Someone beat her bad." Mrs. Green handed him her old rotary phone without question. 911, what's your emergency? 1247 Riverbend Road. I found a woman on the side of the road. She's been beaten, unconscious, and I think she's paralyzed. Ethan rattled off everything he could. Pulse rate, breathing, visible injuries. Then came the words that made his stomach drop. "Sir, There's been a major accident on Interstate 40. Our nearest available ambulance is approximately 3 hours away. 3 hours. Understood. He ran back to check on the woman. She was exactly as he'd left her, pale beneath the bruising, cold, barely breathing. Ethan pulled a chair up beside the bed, checking her pulse every 10 minutes. An hour passed, then 90 minutes, and then her eyes fluttered open. Ethan leaned forward instantly. "Hey, you're safe. Don't try to move." Her eyes were wild with terror, dark brown and unfocused, searching for threats that weren't there. "Please, don't let them find me. No one's going to hurt you here. I promise. My chair." Her words came in broken fragments. "They took my chair, said I wouldn't need it, burned it right in front of me." Ethan felt rage coil in his gut. "Isabel," the woman whispered. "My sister." She watched. She just watched. "Shh. Save your strength. Help is coming. They left me to die." A single tear rolled down her bruised cheek. "She said our father was a fool, giving me the company when I can't even walk." Then her eyes rolled back and she was unconscious again. The ambulance finally arrived 2 hours and 47 minutes after his call. The paramedics rushed in with professional efficiency. "Sir, did she say anything?" "She was conscious for maybe a minute, said something about her sister, about her wheelchair being burned." The paramedic's expression darkened. "This woman's been drugged. Heavy sedatives. And these injuries, someone wanted her dead." "Which hospital are you taking her to?" "St. Catherine's in Asheville." Ethan nodded. "I'm following you there." Ethan ran back to Mrs. Green's house where his daughter Naomi was having breakfast. The little girl looked up from her cereal, her brown eyes bright, her thick curls pulled into 2 puffs. "Daddy, you back early." "Something happened this morning. I found a lady who's hurt, and I need to make sure she gets to the hospital safely. Can you be a big girl and come with me?" Naomi's eyes went wide. "Is she hurt bad?" "Pretty bad, yeah." "Then we got to help her." Naomi jumped down and grabbed her stuffed rabbit. "Mr. Bunny always makes me feel better when I'm scared. Maybe the hurt lady needs him too." The drive to St. Catherine's took an hour. A police officer approached Ethan almost as soon as he walked through the doors. "Sir, I'm Detective Carter. I understand you're the one who found the victim." For the next hour, Ethan gave his statement while Naomi clung to him. Detective Carter, a tall black man with close-cropped hair and kind eyes, listened intently. "Mr. Ward, do you have any idea who this woman is?" "No. She was unconscious most of the time." Detective Carter wrote something in his notebook. "Between you and me, this looks like attempted murder, but she survived. Because of you." The detective met his eyes. "You saved her life, Mr. Ward." "Daddy, can we wait here till the sleeping lady wakes up?" "Yeah, sweetheart, we can wait." They waited for hours. Naomi drew pictures with crayons a kind nurse provided. Ethan sat in the uncomfortable plastic chair, his mind wandering to places he'd been trying not to go for 2 years. He thought about Rachel, about the day she'd collapsed, how the doctors had said stage 4 and weeks, not months. He thought about Derek, his business partner, who had stolen everything while Ethan was buried in grief. The farmhouse had been Rachel's childhood home, inherited from her parents. It was falling apart, but it was all they had left. For 2 years, Ethan had been surviving, just barely. But this morning, when he'd found that woman in the ditch, something had shifted. For the first time in 2 years, he'd felt useful. "Mr. Ward." Ethan looked up. A doctor in scrubs stood before him. "I'm Dr. Nguyen. She's stable now. Critical, but stable. She has 3 cracked ribs, severe contusions, and evidence of long-term paralysis. Someone also drugged her heavily. This was a planned attack." Ethan felt sick. "Can she have visitors?" "Not yet. She's unconscious and will likely remain that way for at least another day." That evening, After tucking Naomi into bed, Ethan sat on the porch steps and looked up at the stars. Tomorrow, he'd go back. He'd keep his promise to Naomi. Ethan woke to Naomi bouncing on his bed at 6 in the morning. "Daddy, we gotta go see the hurt lady." They arrived at St. Catherine's at 8:30. The nurse smiled when she saw them. "Back again? She's still unconscious, sweetie, but I bet she'd love to see your drawings when she wakes. Can we put them on her wall? I think that would be wonderful." In the private room, Ethan saw the woman in proper lighting for the first time. She was younger than he'd thought, early 30s maybe. Even with the bruising, he could see delicate features, high cheekbones, long black locks that someone had carefully braided. The kind of face that belonged in boardrooms, not beaten and left for dead. Naomi placed Mr. Bunny on the bedside table. "There. Now you won't be lonely." Hours passed. At 11 a.m., Detective Carter appeared in the doorway. "Mr. Ward, we have an ID, and this situation is a lot bigger than we initially thought." Ethan's stomach tightened. "Who is she?" Detective Carter pulled out a photograph. "Her name is Dr. Maya Sinclair, CEO of Sinclair Enterprises. She's been missing for 2 days." Ethan stared at the photograph, then at Maya in the bed. Sinclair Enterprises. He knew that name. One of the biggest tech companies in the country, worth billions. "Her family? They're the ones who did this?" "We're investigating, but this woman had 70% ownership of a multi-billion-dollar company. Certain people apparently thought her wheelchair made her unfit to lead." Detective Carter's expression hardened. "We're looking at her stepsister and several board members. We'll need you to testify when this goes to trial." Ethan nodded slowly. "Whatever she needs." "Daddy." Naomi tugged his sleeve. "What's a CEO?" "It means she's in charge of a big company, sweetheart. A very important person. But she's hurt real bad. Maybe she needs friends more than she needs being important. Friends don't leave you in ditches." Ethan reached over and smoothed his daughter's hair. "You're absolutely right, sweetheart." The next day, Maya was still unconscious. Ethan and Naomi came again. On the third day, Naomi brought a book. "Can I read to her, Daddy? Mommy used to say that sick people can hear stories even when they're sleeping." "Yes, sweetheart, I think she'd like that." So Naomi read, stumbling over words, making up funny voices. Ethan watched and felt something stir in his chest. On the fourth day, everything changed. They arrived to find Maya's room bustling with activity. The crowd parted and he saw her, awake, sitting up in bed, looking pale but unmistakably conscious. Her dark eyes landed on Ethan. "You," she said, her voice hoarse. "You're the one who found me." "Yeah, that was me. The nurses told me. They said you carried me 3 miles, saved my life. Anyone would have done the same." "No." Maya's voice was firm. "They wouldn't have. Most people would have kept walking. Especially once they realized—" She gestured to her legs. "Once they realized I couldn't walk." "You're not broken," Ethan said before he could stop himself. Their eyes met and held. "Daddy, can I say hi now?" Maya's expression softened. "Is this your daughter?" "This is Naomi." "You got a pretty name. It sounds like a princess name." Maya's laugh was weak but genuine. "Not quite, sweetie. I left my bunny for you so you wouldn't be lonely. Did he help?" Maya's eyes filled with tears. She reached for the stuffed rabbit. "He helped very much. Thank you, Naomi." A suited man cleared his throat. "Ms. Sinclair, we should let you rest." "No. Give me a few minutes alone with Mr. Ward and his daughter, please." The room emptied. Maya studied Ethan. "Tell me about you." He chose his words carefully. 2 years ago, I lost my wife to cancer. Lost my business to a crooked partner. Lost everything except my daughter and an old farmhouse." He met Maya's eyes. "So, when I saw you in that ditch, I wasn't going to be one of those people who walks away." Maya's expression shifted. "They tried to kill me," she said quietly. My stepsister Isabel and 3 board members. They drugged me, drove me out to that road, and destroyed my wheelchair. Burned it while I watched. Ethan felt rage coil in his gut. That's evil. Yeah, but I'd been gathering evidence of their embezzlement for months. They decided to remove the problem. Except the problem is still here, Ethan said firmly. Because of you. Maya's voice dropped to a whisper. You saved my life, Ethan Ward. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. And more than that, I don't have anyone. No family I can trust. For days, the only people who came were a stranger and his 6-year-old daughter. Ethan thought about his own isolation since Rachel's death. Yeah, I know exactly how that feels. Their eyes met again, and this time the connection was undeniable. Over the next 2 weeks, Ethan and Naomi became fixtures at St. Catherine's. They visited every day. Ethan brought soup and conversation. Naomi brought endless drawings and stories. Maya began to heal. The bruises faded. She could sit up without wincing, but without her wheelchair, she was trapped. The custom one I had took 6 months to build, she explained one afternoon. It was designed specifically for my needs, and they just destroyed it. You're not helpless, Ethan said firmly. You're running your company from a hospital bed and building a case against people who tried to murder you. That's not helpless. Maya smiled, but it didn't reach her eyes. The hospital is discharging me next week, but I can't go back to my penthouse. It's a crime scene, and I can't go to a facility. So where will you go? I don't know. Ethan opened his mouth, closed it, then opened it again. The offer was crazy, but he remembered Rachel's words. Promise me you'll stay open to love. Stay with us, he heard himself say. Maya blinked. What? The farmhouse. It's not fancy, but there's room. You'd be safe. Mrs. Green has an old wheelchair from when her husband was alive. And I was a contractor. I can build ramps, modify things. Ethan, why would you do this? Because I don't see CEO Maya Sinclair. I just see someone who needs help. Naomi tugged his sleeve. Can I give her Mr. Bunny now, Daddy? Maya watched the little girl. You're a good man, Ethan Ward. Maybe we can tread water together for a while. She laughed through her tears. Okay, but I'll help too, with expenses. I'm not dead weight. Ethan smiled. Deal. The next 3 days were a whirlwind. Ethan borrowed the old wheelchair and spent every hour working on the farmhouse, building a ramp, modifying the bathroom, creating a desk from reclaimed wood. Mrs. Green brought casseroles and blankets. The day Maya was discharged, Ethan drove to the hospital. Naomi bounced in her seat, chattering about everything she'd show Maya. Maya was waiting, dressed in simple jeans and a sweater, her locks pulled back. She looked nervous. Ready? Ethan asked. Maya stared at the old wheelchair, then lifted herself into it with practiced efficiency. It's perfect, she said. When they pulled up to the farmhouse, peeling paint, sagging porch, Maya studied it. It's beautiful. You're a terrible liar. I'm serious. It feels like a home. Inside, Maya wheeled through each room slowly. She stopped at the desk he'd built. You made this? Nothing fancy. Ethan. She turned to look at him. This is the kindest thing anyone has ever done for me. You deserve kindness, he said simply. Their eyes locked, and the farmhouse kitchen felt very warm. Then Naomi stumbled in. Miss Maya, you're here. Come see my room. The moment broke, but the warmth remained. The first week was an adjustment. Maya worked remotely, rebuilding her company from the farmhouse. Ethan went back to his odd jobs, and Naomi appointed herself Maya's official helper. In the evenings, after Naomi went to bed, Ethan and Maya would sit by the fireplace. They talked about everything. She told him about the isolation of being CEO, about how her wheelchair had become both challenge and teacher. People treat you differently. They talk slower, make decisions for you without asking. That must be exhausting, It is, but it taught me who's worth keeping in my life. Ethan leaned back. I lost my wife 2 years ago. Cancer. 6 weeks from diagnosis to... He couldn't finish. Then my business partner stole everything. I'm sorry, Maya said softly. The grief is one thing, but the isolation after... People stopped calling. I understand that, Maya said. When I had my riding accident, half my friends vanished. They sat in silence. Two people who'd been left behind, finding understanding in each other. Can I ask you something? Maya's voice was tentative. Anything. Why aren't you angry? He considered carefully. I was, for months, but then Naomi asked me why I was so sad all the time. I realized I could either stay angry or find the good moments. That's survival. He turned to look at her. You understand that. You've been surviving your whole life, proving yourself, building an empire despite everyone saying you couldn't. Ethan, I don't think you realize how extraordinary you are. You saved my life. You opened your home. You just see me. That's not extraordinary. That's just being human. Maybe that's what makes it so rare. Their eyes met and held. Ethan reached out slowly. She didn't pull away. His hand covered hers. Their fingers, his darker, hers lighter brown, intertwined. They stayed like that for a long time. Weeks fell into rhythm. Ethan would make breakfast and head to work. Maya would command her company from her desk. Naomi would come home bursting with stories. One evening, Maya insisted on helping with dinner. They worked side by side, and Ethan felt something shift. After dinner and Naomi's bedtime, Ethan came downstairs to find Maya on the floor doing exercises. Need a spotter? He asked. Always. He sat beside her, counting reps. The exercises were grueling, but she pushed herself hard. Enough, Ethan said finally. His hand covered hers. It's enough. She looked at him, breathing hard, then nodded. Help me back. He lifted her carefully into the wheelchair, but instead of wheeling away, she stayed close. Thank you, she said softly, for not treating me like I'm fragile. You're the least fragile person I know. I feel fragile around you, in a good way. Ethan crouched down so they were eye level. Maya's hand came up to rest against his cheek. Ethan, I think I'm falling for you, and that terrifies me. His heart hammered. Why? Because I've lost everything once. I don't think I could survive losing you too. Ethan covered her hand with his. You're not going to lose me. You don't know that. No. But I know that finding you was the first time in 2 years I felt like my life had purpose. I know that hearing you laugh with Naomi makes me happier than I thought possible. Maya's eyes filled with tears. That's the most beautiful thing anyone's ever said to me. She pulled him closer, and he wrapped his arms around her. They held each other, two broken people discovering that sometimes broken pieces fit perfectly. The next morning, Naomi found them asleep by the fireplace, hands still intertwined. Daddy, you holding hands with Miss Maya? Ethan jolted awake. What's wrong, sweetheart? Nothing's wrong, but you like her, which means maybe we're going to be a family. Maya laughed. Good morning, Naomi. Is it true? Do you like my daddy? Maya looked at Ethan. Yes, I do. Very much. Is that okay? Naomi's face split into the biggest smile. It's the best. Can we have pancakes to celebrate? As Ethan made breakfast, he watched Maya and Naomi at the table. This, he thought. This is happiness. 3 weeks in, Maya's new custom wheelchair arrived. The sleek, high-tech chair looked like it belonged in a sci-fi movie. It looks like a spaceship, Naomi squealed. But before Maya transferred to it, Naomi appeared with butterfly stickers. For good luck. 20 minutes later, the sleek black wheelchair was covered in sparkly butterflies. November arrived with cold winds. One night, he found Maya on the phone speaking rapid business speak to someone clearly giving her trouble. When she hung up, she looked drained. Tough call? Former business partner trying to weasel out of a contract. What did you tell him? Maya's smile was sharp. I told him I survived attempted murder. I'm not afraid of him. Ethan laughed. Remind me never to cross you. You're safe. You're not a business deal. What am I then? She wheeled closer. You're the person who makes me remember what it's like to feel safe. You're the reason I'm thinking about what comes after. And lately, what I want looks like this. Like you and Naomi and this farmhouse. Ethan's breath caught. Maya. I'm not asking for promises, but I need you to know this isn't temporary for me. What I feel for you, it's real. Ethan crossed the room, dropping to his knees. It's real for me, too. Then what do we do? I don't know. But maybe we just keep going. Keep being honest. Maya's hand cupped his face. I can do that. He leaned forward, and this time there was no hesitation. Their lips met in a kiss that was gentle and fierce all at once. When they pulled apart, both breathing hard, Maya smiled. I think Mr. Bunny was right. Ethan laughed, resting his forehead against hers. Don't tell Naomi. Too late, Naomi's voice called from the stairs. I heard everything. They dissolved into laughter, and Ethan realized this was exactly what he'd been missing. It was life. Real, beautiful, imperfect life. December brought snow and difficult news. The trial date was set for late January. Maya would have to return to Atlanta. I have to go back, she said one evening. I know, Ethan said. Come with me. He looked up sharply. What? You and Naomi. Come to Atlanta. Maya rushed on. I have a house in the suburbs, 4 bedrooms, huge yard, excellent schools, and my company needs a new head of facilities and construction. Maya, I can't accept charity. It's not charity. You built Caldwell Construction into a $3 million company. And more than that, her voice softened. I'm falling in love with you, Ethan Ward. I don't want to do this separately. I want us together. Ethan felt like the floor had disappeared. You love me? Yes, I love you. I love your daughter. I love this farmhouse and your determination to fix everything. I love that you see me as a person. He kissed her, cutting off the words. When they broke apart, they were both crying. I love you too, he whispered. You deserve everything. Let me give you that. Not as charity, but as someone who loves you. What about this place? Ethan looked around. Keep it, but Ethan, don't trap yourself in the past. Rachel would want you to live. He thought about Naomi, who deserved better opportunities, about the future he could build with Maya if he was brave enough. Can I think about it? But Naomi, eavesdropping again, had different ideas. Daddy, can we please go to Atlanta? Please? I really want us to be a proper family. Ethan looked at his daughter's hopeful face, then at Maya's careful hope, and felt something crack open. Maybe it was time to stop just surviving. Yeah, he said. Yeah, let's do it. Naomi shrieked. Maya's face transformed with relief, and Ethan felt for the first time in 2 years like the future held promise. 4 months later, Ethan stood in his new office on the 15th floor of Sinclair Enterprises HQ, looking out at the Atlanta skyline. Behind him, his office door opened. Mr. Ward, you have a visitor, his assistant said. Maya rolled in, looking every inch the CEO in a burgundy suit. Hey, stranger, lunch? Ethan grinned. The boss is asking me on a date? Consider it a performance review. She wheeled closer and he kissed her. The trial had concluded weeks ago. Isabel and the board members were convicted. Maya had restructured Sinclair Enterprises completely, implementing accessibility initiatives that Naomi had inspired. But Ethan knew the real story. It wasn't about a CEO reclaiming her empire. It was about two broken people finding each other and choosing to build something beautiful from the wreckage. "How's Naomi?" Maya asked. "Made 3 new friends today." Of course, Mr. Bunny is a legend. At lunch, Maya pulled out a small box. Ethan's heart stuttered. "What's this?" Inside was a key. "The farmhouse. I had it remodeled. New roof, everything fixed. I thought maybe we could use it as a retreat." Ethan stared at the key. "I don't deserve you." "Yes, you do. You saw me when I was at my lowest and you didn't walk away. That kind of love saves lives. I love you so much it scares me." "Good, because I have one more thing." She pulled out another box, a ring. Simple, elegant. "Marry me," Maya said. "Build a life with me. Not because I saved you or you saved me, but because we choose each other every day." Ethan couldn't speak. He just nodded until she laughed and he kissed her and the restaurant erupted in applause. That evening, when they picked up Naomi, she saw Maya's ring and screamed, "Mr. Bunny was right. We're going to be a family for real." Ethan lifted his daughter up and looked at Maya, the woman he'd found broken in a ditch, the woman who'd refused to give up, the woman who taught him that second chances were real. "Yes, sweetheart, we're a family, the best kind, the kind we chose." That night, Ethan and Maya sat in their living room. "Do you ever think about that morning?" asked Ethan. "Every day," admitted Maya, "if you'd left 5 minutes earlier, if the fog had been thicker." She ran her fingers through his hair. "But I didn't. The universe was giving us both a second chance. You'd lost everything. I'd been betrayed, left for dead. We were both broken. And broken things can be fixed," Ethan finished, "or rebuilt into something better." He knelt beside her chair. "I loved Rachel. Part of me always will. But loving you doesn't diminish that. You're exactly who I'm meant to be with right now. Ethan, I need you to hear this. I don't see your disability. I see your strength. I see a woman who runs a billion-dollar company, who survived attempted murder, who decorates her wheelchair with butterfly stickers because a 6-year-old asked. Stop. You're going to make me cry. One more thing." He pulled out a ring he'd designed himself, simple gold with coordinates inscribed inside, of where he'd found her. "Maya Sinclair, will you marry me? Not because I saved you, but because I choose you every day for the rest of my life." She was crying fully now, nodding. "Yes, of course. Yes." He slid the ring onto her finger and kissed her with everything he had. Outside, snow began to fall. Ethan understood something fundamental. It's not about the disasters. It's about what you choose to do after. It's about the people you find in the wreckage, the hands you hold in the darkness. 2 years ago, he'd lost everything. 6 months ago, he'd found a woman dying in a ditch. Today, he had a family, a career, a future. Sometimes the greatest treasures aren't found when you're searching. Sometimes they're discovered when you simply stop to help someone else, when you choose compassion over convenience. Ethan Ward had found Maya Sinclair on the worst day of her life. But really, they'd found each other. And in finding each other, they'd found themselves again. That was the real miracle. Not the survival, not the rescue, not even the love story. It was the reminder that no matter how broken you are, there's always a chance for something new, something beautiful, something worth fighting for. You just have to be brave enough to reach for it when it appears, unexpected and impossible and absolutely perfect. Friends, if this story touched your heart, if it reminded you of the power we all have to change someone's life with a simple act of kindness, please subscribe and join our community.